You didn't make an error. You didn't fall out of alignment. And the universe isn't challenging you. It's preparing you. I know what it's like when everything appears to collapse all at once. When the plans that once felt solid begin to fade. When the people you relied on slowly drift away. When the foundations you created start quietly breaking down. You tell yourself it's temporary. Then you question if you've gone off track. Then the fear creeps in. But maybe nothing is falling apart. Maybe something is shifting into place. Maybe what seems like delay is actually divine recalibration. Maybe the version of you capable of receiving what you've been asking for is finally starting to rise. And everything that can't match that frequency is being cleared away. This is the part no one mentions about manifestation. When you begin vibrating at a new level, even subtly, the quantum field starts reorganizing your life to align with it. And that reorganization can resemble chaos. You feel like you're slipping backward. You feel like the vision is fading. But what's really fading is the identity that no longer aligns with your next reality. The confusion, the sadness, the discomfort, they aren't punishments. They're signals that the field is shifting your outer world to mirror the frequency you've been calling in. That's not misalignment. That's acceleration. It hurts though. I won't pretend it doesn't. The pain of releasing what once felt secure. The ache of trusting something you can't see. The grief of becoming a new version of yourself without fully knowing who that person will be. It's disorienting because you're not only letting go of outcomes, you're letting go of emotional patterns. You're letting go of the part of you that learned to survive by controlling everything. The part that believed effort determined value. The part that assumed stillness was weakness. And that part doesn't step aside quietly. It clings. It bargains. It pushes back. Not because it's wrong, but because it's frightened. It was never created to help you flourish. It was built to shield you. But shielding is no longer what you require. What you need now is trust. You're not frozen. You're just suspended between identities. You're standing in the threshold between who you've always been and who you're evolving into. That space is uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar. Your old coping skills don't function here. Your old beliefs can't travel with you. And the universe, the field, it understands that. So it waits. It waits for you to become steady. Not just emotionally, but energetically, because the field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to your vibration. And when that vibration is tangled with contradiction, with desperation disguised as certainty, with control disguised as planning, the field can't deliver. That's why everything feels blocked when you're trying too hard. Because pushing an energy is often resistance wearing a mask. You're not meant to force your path forward. You're meant to feel your way into alignment. That alignment doesn't come from flawless routines. It comes from growing still enough to notice where you're leaking energy, where you're doubting yourself, where you're handing your piece to some future moment. That's where preparation begins. Not on your vision board, not in your task list, but in the quiet between your thoughts. The stillness beneath the striving. The breath that whispers, even if I can't see it yet, I know something is transforming. What if this isn't postponement? What if this is the exact moment your vibration is stabilizing into a new reality? What if this is the clearing before the embodiment, the trimming before the bloom? What if the universe isn't holding you back, but holding space for the truest version of you to appear? The one who can sustain the life they've been asking for without breaking under its weight. That's not a test. That's trust in motion. That's the field doing what it naturally does, mirroring your readiness. So no, you're not being punished. You're being positioned. You're being softened in the places where fear once hardened you. You're being cleared of the noise that kept you chasing what was never meant to remain. You're being freed from the illusions that said you weren't ready yet, because now you are. And I know this phase doesn't feel magical. Feels raw, lonely, confusing. But this in-between, this sacred unease, is the doorway to transformation. The moment your old narrative becomes too small, and your new narrative hasn't fully formed. It's the pause before the leap, the quiet before the shift, and it's where your truest power begins rising. Because when the field feels that you're no longer racing toward alignment, but willing to sit in the space it's opening for you, it responds, not from obligation, but from resonance. It begins shaping a reality that mirrors your new center, your new calm, your new truth. So if things feel shaky right now, let them. Things feel slow, heavy, or unclear, trust it. It means you're entering the part of the journey that matters most, the becoming. And the field, conscious as ever, is watching, listening, tuning itself to your next frequency. Because something within you has already changed, and now the outer world is simply catching up. Let's move forward together. There's a misunderstanding that the universe sends trials to judge your worthiness. But the quantum field doesn't test. It reacts. It doesn't need to assess your power. It mirrors your signal. And when that signal shifts, Even subtly, everything anchored to your previous frequency begins to dissolve, not from harshness but from coherence. The field doesn't ask, "Are you prepared?" It listens to your energy and responds, "I feel you. Let me mirror that." And that reflection isn't always instant. Sometimes it appears as life getting harder before it smooths out. Not because you're failing, but because your old foundation is being replaced. Your physical reality always moves slower than your internal vibration. So when you shift your emotional baseline, when you stop transmitting from fear, from lack, from insufficiency, the field pauses. It doesn't punish you. It recalibrates. And that recalibration is what many people mistakenly label as being tested. Let's be clear, you're not being judged. You're being upgraded. And every upgrade requires a release. Just as the body expels toxins during healing, your energy field releases what no longer harmonizes. Old patterns, connections, beliefs, roles all start to fall away. And the space between releasing the old and receiving the new, that's where most people panic. That's when fear slips back in. Because the mind dislikes emptiness. It tries to fill it with narratives, blame, deadlines. But the field loves emptiness because emptiness is pure possibility. Emptiness is clean signal. Emptiness is the birthplace of a new reality. This is quantum fact. Every time you send out a fresh vibration, you're telling the field what you're prepared to receive. And if your outer life doesn't match that signal yet, it begins to reorganize. But first, it must dismantle whatever no longer fits. That dismantling isn't ruin. It's alignment. You're not losing what belongs to you. You're losing what cannot walk with you into the next version of yourself. And yes, that can look chaotic. Because anything you once clutched for identity, anything you depended on to feel secure, is questioned by your new frequency. This is why manifestation often arrives after the turmoil, not before it. Because the storm loosens what you would have held onto tightly. It pulls you out of old cycles, partnerships, jobs, cities, timelines, not to punish but to prepare, to open space, to purify your signal. Because when your signal is clean, the field meets no resistance. It doesn't hesitate, it reflects. But until that coherence fully anchors in you, until your being becomes quieter than your mind, the field waits, not due to delay but devotion. It waits for you to stop pushing. It waits for you to stop performing. It waits for your frequency to stop flickering between doubt and belief. Because the field doesn't collapse reality based on language. It collapses based on vibration. And vibration never lies. So when things unravel, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this creating room for?" Don't assume rejection. Assume redirection. Don't fight the quiet. Learn to hear through it. Because the silence between realities is where timelines are reorganized. And if you can hold your center inside that silence, if you can stay steady while everything unravels around you, the field has no choice but to match your new frequency. Joe Dispenza teaches that the quantum field is a mirror for your inner state. But it isn't a passive mirror. It's conscious. It's responsive. It feels your fear. It feels your trust. It feels when you're pretending. And it feels when you've truly surrendered. When you no longer need the outcome to feel complete, that is when the outcome begins forming. When you stop grasping and start grounding, reality bends. But grounding requires presence. It requires stillness. It requires bravery to sit in the in-between and say, "Even here, I trust." Because the moment you stop trying to fix, prove, or control your world, your frequency becomes steady. And in steadiness, there is clarity. And in clarity, there is access. And in access, manifestation stops being something you chase and becomes something you attune to. So no, you're not failing because things are falling away. You're succeeding at a depth your ego can't measure. You're becoming aligned with the life you once only visualized. You're becoming the version of yourself who no longer wonders if it's working because you can already feel the shift in your body. That is the moment the field recognizes you. That is the moment it stops responding to your rituals and starts responding to your essence. And that essence, your true self, is not trying to force the future. It's welcoming it. Let that settle in. In the next minutes, we'll explore how the pause between the old and the new is not empty at all, but filled with subtle quantum movement, and how learning to trust the slowness is the very thing that unlocks the next expression of you. Ready to go deeper? There is a space between releasing and receiving. A strange, quiet place where nothing appears to be happening. You've done the work. You've sensed the shift. You've surrendered. And then stillness. No signals, no confirmation, just a void. But that void isn't an error. It's not a setback. It's the recalibration zone where timelines are rewritten not by what you do, but by who you're evolving into. Most people misinterpret this space as collapse. They panic. They back away. They try to force progress. They dig up the seed to check if it's growing. But the quantum field doesn't reward agitation. It responds to coherence. And coherence requires stillness. That's why this moment, this uneasy, invisible, uncelebrated stretch, is the most essential part of the journey because it exposes whether you trust your frequency or simply imitate it. You're not frozen. You're suspended, drifting between timelines. The old one is dissolving. You feel it. The new one hasn't landed yet. You sense it. But something inside already understands. This space is sacred. This is where the subconscious rewiring begins. This is where emotional imprints fade. This is where your system stabilizes in a new identity before the physical world reflects it. And yes, it feels odd, like being undefined, like not knowing your next step. That's because your identity is shifting. You're no longer who you were, but you're not fully who you're becoming yet. This is what spiritual maturity truly feels like. Not fireworks, but integration. Not sudden revelations, but steadiness. The field is observing, not with eyes, but with resonance. It's listening to the texture of your silence. It's sensing the shape of your vibration when you're not performing. Because when you stop forcing, your real frequency rises to the surface. And that's the one that creates. Neville Goddard called it the Sabbath, the period of rest between assuming the state of the wish fulfilled and watching it take form. He said, if you persist in the assumption, it will harden into fact. But persistence isn't strain. It's vibrational steadiness. It's when you stop seeking proof and instead become the proof. It's when you stop searching outside for validation because your body already carries the knowing. So if you feel like nothing is changing, good. It means something deeper is synchronizing. It means the surface is quiet because the foundation is shifting. It means your system is learning to hold the new without collapsing back into the old. It means your timeline is recalibrating in real time. And your only task is to remain coherent. But coherence isn't flawlessness. It's honesty. Can you sit with discomfort without running from it? Can you hold the vibration of trust without guarantees? Can you allow the timeline to form around your being instead of chasing it with effort? This is the quantum pause. The field is waiting for you to stabilize before it collapses into form. It's waiting for your signal to become steady enough to create. And that steadiness isn't measured by intensity. It's measured by ease, by calm, by how gently you hold the vision, by how little you cling to it. Because the more you grasp, the more you broadcast to the field, I don't trust it's real. And the field mirrors that belief, not your words. So stop grasping. Start anchoring. Start inhabiting the vibration of already. Start walking as if it's complete. Not for the field, for yourself. Because when your nervous system finally believes it's safe to receive, the field reacts instantly. This is where the breakthrough exists. Not in the doing, but in the being. Not in the outcome, but in your readiness to hold it. That readiness isn't proven through rituals or mantras. It's proven through emotional neutrality. When the outcome no longer dictates your worth, that's when it arrives. When your joy isn't postponed until it happens but accessible now, that's when it manifests. When you stop bracing for disappointment and start living from alignment, that's when the new timeline locks in. The quantum isn't slow. You're still stabilizing. Let it take the time it requires to match the precision of your intention. Let the unseen reorganize. Let the silence communicate. Let the space you're in, no matter how uneasy, become your training ground for trust. Because trust is the energy that collapses reality faster than anything else. In the next section, we'll explore how to move through this recalibration stage without self-sabotage. How to stop interpreting discomfort as failure and begin recognizing it as evidence of deep alignment. Are you ready to shift the way you navigate the unknown? Then let's continue. By now, you've likely noticed a pattern. The more you attempt to force transformation, the more resistance rises. The more you chase the next step, the more it drifts away. That's not collapse. That's feedback. Because the quantum field doesn't operate through pressure. It responds to resonance. And resonance is born not from urgency, but from surrender. But surrender has been misread. It's not quitting. It's not apathy. It's choosing coherence instead of control. It's choosing moment by moment to trust the timeline your soul has already selected, even if your mind can't comprehend it yet. That's real power. And it's that power that balances your field. So how do you collaborate with the quantum when everything feels misaligned? First, you stop interpreting discomfort as danger. Most of what you label fear is simply unfamiliarity. You're not afraid because something is wrong. You're afraid because something is transforming. Because you've started emitting a new frequency and your nervous system hasn't adjusted yet. That's not sabotage. That's integration. Let it unfold. Second, you stop asking, how do I repair this? And start asking, What part of me is still resisting this shift? Because trying to correct what the field is already reorganizing only adds static to your signal. The more you meddle, the more you postpone. But when you breathe, soften, and release, you become magnetic. Not because you're doing extra, but because you're finally calm enough to receive. This is where Abraham Hicks offers a clarity that pierces through. You cannot occupy receiving mode and resistance mode simultaneously. It's not about force. It's about allowing. And allowing isn't passive, it's deeply deliberate. It's the choice to trust that alignment is functioning even when nothing visible confirms it yet. And trust isn't something you wait to feel. It's a frequency you deliberately activate, especially during the moments that feel the most shaky. That's when the universe hears you most clearly. Not when you pretend to trust, but when you genuinely embody it. So, what does that look like in real life? It looks like waking up and not asking what's missing, but what energy am I sending out? It looks like watching your thoughts without accepting all of them as truth. It looks like sensing the tension in your chest and relaxing instead of spiraling. It looks like maintaining the same calm energy whether your manifestation has arrived or not, because the field doesn't just care about giving you what you want. It cares about who you become on the way there. That's the preparation. That's the refinement. Not in punishment, but in precision. Your nervous system is the transmitter. The clearer the signal, the sharper the reflection. That's why things fall apart before they align. Because you can't manifest from internal conflict. The field won't collapse a fresh reality around an outdated frequency. It waits with patience until you stop vibrating from old memory and begin vibrating from the present. That's the turning point. And it's in the present moment that your future forms. So here's a simple shift you can make right now. Instead of asking for proof that it's happening, become the proof. Instead of craving signs to feel aligned, let your alignment be the sign. Instead of waiting to feel safe only after the outcome arrives, become the space where safety already rests. You don't need more techniques. You need more quiet. You don't need another affirmation. You need permission to acknowledge how far you've already evolved. You don't need to hustle more. You need to stop resisting who you're transforming into because that version of you is already aligned. You're simply learning how to meet them in the field without fear. So inhale. Let this settle. If your path feels strange, it means you're standing at the edge of your old map. And that's exactly where all new realities take shape. The silence feels overwhelming, good. It means the field is paying attention. And if this message resonates, if it touched the part of you that's been quietly holding on, then mark this moment. Drop this in the comments. I trust the process. Not because it's flawless, but because it's exact. Because it isn't punishment, it's preparation. And in the next section, we'll close this journey not with answers, but with the deeper remembering that you are not here merely to endure your life. You are here to step fully into the frequency you were destined to embody. The one the universe has been shaping you to carry from the very beginning. Let's complete this journey side by side. By now, something inside you has realigned. Not because you discovered something new, but because you remembered something ancient. You're not being challenged. You're being entrusted. The universe isn't observing to see if you collapse. It's reorganizing your path to support the version of you that's emerging. And often that reorganization feels like resistance, like emptiness, like ache. But it isn't punishment. It's preparation. You asked for alignment, and now the field is clearing out everything that can't sustain it. That's why it stings. Not because you failed, but because you're releasing the pieces of yourself that were never authentic. The expectations, the disguises, the timelines you outgrew but held onto. The field is exact. It only reacts to your truth. And when your truth rises above your fear, the field shifts. That's what you've been sensing, not collapse. Activation. The slow, profound rise of inner coherence. The grounding of your nervous system into a renewed identity. The gentle adjustment to a version of you that no longer needs to perform, only to exist. That is the shift. That is the preparation, because receiving isn't about earning. It is about readiness. The universe already longs to deliver everything you've requested. It's simply waiting for your field to become open enough to hold it. And that openness isn't in your language. It's in your resonance, your emotional imprint, your capacity to soften rather than control, to trust rather than pursue, to anchor rather than impress. It's no longer about asking when it will arrive. It's about living from the certainty that it's already in motion, because that embodied belief collapses timelines faster than any technique. You were never designed to force. You were designed to feel. You were never meant to grind for alignment. You were meant to remember it. You're not here to earn your manifestations. You're here to vibrate with them. And that vibration sometimes requires time. Sometimes it requires falling apart. Sometimes it asks you to sit in the quiet longer than you believe possible. But beyond that silence is something profound: stability. Not emotional highs that drain you, but grounded magnetic alignment. The kind that doesn't seek validation because it already knows. The kind of coherence that needs no evidence because it has already become the proof. And once you become the proof, reality rearranges. The field answers. Life begins to move again. Not because you pushed, but because you released. You made room. You inhaled. You stayed. You softened. You surrendered without collapsing. You trusted. And that trust became your signal. A signal so strong the universe couldn't overlook it. So potent that timelines had no option but to shift. So aligned that what once felt distant became unavoidable. That is what's unfolding now. Right now, not eventually. Not when you're more prepared, now. So if this message resonated with the part of you that has been quietly holding on, if you felt even a spark of clarity, peace, or remembrance, let this be your sign to continue. Let this be the moment you stop chasing and begin allowing. Let this be the moment you choose, not to do more, but to trust more deeply. Let this be the moment you anchor into the knowing. I'm not lost. I'm being aligned. And if this space, this frequency felt like home to you, if it reflected who you truly are beneath the noise, then I'd love for you to remain here. I hope something in this message reached you at the exact moment it was meant to. And that is not randomness. That is coherence. This is your season of preparation.